Welcome to the Firehouse, the show dedicated to the brave men and women who serve our community.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Firehouse on WRHU 88.7 FM. I am your host, Chris Moses, and today, sitting with me in the Firehouse is my boy, Dominick Albanese. Did I say it right? Or I said it wrong? Tell me.
It's pretty close.
No, say it. Go ahead. Let's get it right. Albanese.
Dominick Albanese.
Dominick Albanese.
Yeah.
Did I say it right? I feel like I still said it wrong.
Nah, you go right on
Albanese.
point. You're good. You're good.
What's going on, brother? How you doing? From Freeport. So, do me a favor. I read your bio. I know a little bit about you, but do me a favor and just, tell the listeners who you are. Tell them what company you're in, what department, what ranks you've held, and how long you've been in, because that's important.
Gotcha. Well, I joined back in 2011. I'm Ever Ready Host Company #1 out of Freeport. I've been a firefighter.
I'm going to ask you how they got their name Ever Ready, but let's keep going.
Ever Ready out of Freeport. Joined back in 2011, so I've been in for about 13 years.
Okay.
I've been a firefighter, and now I hold the rank of second lieutenant. I was gone for a significant amount of time when I joined the military back in 2013.
Okay.
But, I kept up with all my certifications, so every time I was home, I would still roll the calls, go to fires, and then I got back in 2021. And I've just been doing for the house ever since. The fire department means a lot to me. It's a big deal, big part of my life.
So how many years you said?
Just about 13.
13 years. You got some stories, Dom. I know you got some stories. I know you got something to go. All right. So let's start from the beginning, right? You don't just wake up and decide just to run into burning buildings. Like, what made you say, I want to be a firefighter?
I don't know if it really had anything to do with being a firefighter. I had 3 really good friends. I've had friends for about, these guys for 15, 20 plus years. We all went to high school together, and all of their fathers were big in the fire service. I had one buddy at a truck company. His dad was an ex-captain, and 2 guys out of my company, Chris Burkhart and Brian Benora Jr. These were my best childhood friends, and they were like, hey, man, come on down to the Firehouse. The problem was that they were beefing on which house I was going to join, because there's a lot of competition in Freeport. So I eventually landed at Hose 1. My buddy Steve was upset about it, but now he's in my company anyway. So
look at that. So he ended up coming over anyway. So
and his dad.
So everybody came over.
Yeah.
All right. So that was like the humble beginnings, right? So, you're in. And then, so you weren't in any junior programs or anything like that. It was basically just friends that were joining, and you were like, hey, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I wanted to be a part of it. I wouldn't say that I really knew anything about the fire service. I just kind of got acclimated over time, and it just became a huge part of my life. Just learn this real fast. Luckily, when I first started, I did the combo course. Okay. So I didn't really have that difficult long-term training period. It was like be a probie. 2 weeks,
right?
essentials, primaries, and your class
and
A.
And you're ready to go, and let's get it going.
Yeah, I had a quick turnover. It was good for me.
So you were in, and then we had talked about kind of off air. You were in the military as well. Mm-hmm. So you were in, and then went to. So how long were you in before you went to the military?
I was in the fire service for about 2.5 years.
2.5 years,
and then I left for the military, where I did 8 years of active duty, and I'm still in the reserves now.
Wow. So you left for 8 years, or you kind of were doing, like, how did that work out?
So the first 4 years I was over in California.
Okay, so of course, yeah.
Yeah, I really wasn't around too much, but, I'm still coming home on leave and spending time at the firehouse.
Catching calls on the weekends or on leaves.
I would tell you, every time I came home, there was not another place I stayed. I stayed at the firehouse because, that's my family down there. But then my next 4 years in the military, I was in Virginia. Okay. So I was driving up every weekend just, to hang with the boys, be with those guys, trying to catch some calls, trying to catch some work, make up for lost time.
So that was, you said 8 years.
Yeah.
So 8 years. So then, of course, as soon as you're done, first place you're doing, coming right back here, coming right back, right?
Yeah, no, I came back in 21, and I would tell you that, I was kind of like transient living and spending a lot of time at the firehouse, and the guys there gave me the opportunity to do that. I mean, the only catch-all is you respond to everything.
Every single call. If everything. You are here on a 24-hour basis, you're here.
Yeah, it's like 6 a.m., you're going. 3 a.m., you're going. You got somewhere to be? No, you don't got somewhere to be.
No.
You're going to that call.
But that's good because that's what you learn. And just for our listeners, that's what you get when you're in the fire service, fire department. You end up, you create that bond with everybody, and they're there for you and take care of you, like you said, right? They took care of you.
Yeah, I mean, there's different generations of guys at the firehouse. You got you got your friends that are all around your same age that you really, you get those core group of guys, those guys that are rolling the rig, and there's no better feeling. But when you need advice about life or something else going on, you got this, 2 times the generations of guys. You got the senior guys that are still, down there sitting at the round table,
that's right.
Telling you what's up, or the guys that are like, hey, how can I help you? How can I mentor you? How can I be of service to you more than just firematically?
Yeah. So we were talking kind of off air, and you were talking about your career, right? So you're a Nassau County police officer, and you dedicate you getting this job to the fire department. If you can explain that, of how did that happen?
I literally would not be a Nassau County police officer if not for a member of the Freeport Fire Department.
Wow.
We were on the back step of maybe a structure fire, down in South Freeport.
Okay.
And everyone's congratulating him. I'm sitting here ready to be his backup man, in case something's kicking off. And everyone's like, yeah, congrats, man. I'm like, yo, what's going on? He's like, oh yeah, I got into Nassau County PD. I was like, you took that test? Because he's a military guy.
Okay.
He was like, nah, you can take a makeup test. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, here's the email. And then I emailed them, and like literally 3 weeks later, I was in the process. If not for him, I would not have the career that I have in front of me.
Wow, look at that. So that's the volunteer, services that did that for you. Literally gave you your career of what you do now. I love that. I love to hear stuff like that. So listen, 13 years. Even though you were away, you were still coming back, getting those calls in. I know you got some stories. Dom. So talk to me. What stories do you got for me?
I think my favorite story that I reference a lot with some of my guys is really like, I'm a new guy in the firehouse, and Hurricane Sandy kicks off in 2012. We're a South Company in Freeport, and just the things that went on during Sandy, you would never think.
Nobody, and I don't mean to cut you off, but nobody would understand unless they saw it. We mutual aid there from Uniondale. So unless you actually saw what it looked like, no one really understood. But go ahead.
No, I mean, you're talking fires, you're talking water rescue calls, you're talking high axle operations. I mean, we're headed down south on Guy Lombardo on the high axle rig, and there's just people like finally deciding to leave. We're picking them up with the car. Dogs, animals, cats, and then you get up to Atlantic Avenue.
Water pouring in your rig, all types of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and the news is there, just in your face, and you're like, I'm just trying to do my job here. Yeah. But I think the craziest one I ever went to is I was just coming from a water rescue call down south, and we're a block away from the firehouse on South Main Street, and there's this basement fire. So we're all popping out, getting out of our wetsuits to get into turnout gear. You got truckies in the street walking us over with the pike poles because, man covers can come undone. And if you go down into a manhole, you ain't coming back.
Wow.
So I'm walking up, knee deep, almost waist deep of water. Power lines are coming down. The canal is right behind this structure. So the tide is like pushing us out. And I get up on the line, and it's my buddy Brian and another good guy on the officer on the line. And we're going down in this basement, and all I see is like blue fire. And I'm like, there's power lines coming down. I got water up to my waist.
What is going through your mind right then and there? You're in water and there's power lines coming down.
Well, like turnout gear and water do not mix. And I look at Brian. I'm like, this is a heck of a way to go. If we're going right now, this is it. Like, this is.
They're gonna make stories about this one.
Yeah, I was like, this is the one to go. And then we just got in there, we put out the fire. It was really, we didn't really push too internally because there's no one in the building or whatever. We're just kind of put it out and just packed it up. But then even after, putting out the fire, it's like we're in waist deep water. We got to pack up this hose. We got to make sure everyone gets back on the rig okay, back to the firehouse. And we get back to the firehouse. We're a block away because we're on South Side, South Main and South Side cross.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, there's 3 feet of water in the firehouse. I'm like, sick.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah. And
first of all, just packing up the hose in 3 feet of water.
Yeah.
Like the weight on that must be insane. How do you even Where are you even draining it at? Is it even like?
No, it's just like all hands
how
on.
You just lift it up, and is it
You're
actually
like,
draining?
lift it up, put
it's
it out.
in water. So how is it?
We were just like, drag it up on the hose bed. We'll figure it out. Figure it out. We'll get back to the house. But luckily, when push comes to shove in Freeport, all the companies are coming together because, we're really competitive with each other. But, when we get down to business, everyone's all love out there. But, we get down to the fire.
50 years, Fire News has been the preferred publication for fire, rescue, and EMS heroes. Fire News print edition reaches Long Island, 17 states, and the District of Columbia. Visit firenews.com to see the latest news, read their digital prints, or follow them on Facebook and Instagram pages. In print, online, on social media, Fire News has you covered. Visit firenews.com. And if you go ahead and go visit on Instagram, please leave a comment and tell them that WRHU 88.7 The Firehouse sent you.
But, we get down to the firehouse and we're flooded. We got like 3-4 feet in our basement quarters, and they're like, why don't we move up north? We'll move you guys up north. We're like, no, we're not leaving. So we got generators operating the doors. We got guys sleeping on couches with the water right at the at the couch line.
I hope y'all got some pictures of that stuff.
Yeah, and then we lost power. So now we just got this burn barrel on the front ramp. So we're going from wet turnout gear to wetsuits to wet turnout gear to cold showers to sitting on the ramp with this burn barrel, and we're just like, yeah, this is how the other half lives.
Yeah. That is wild, man. That is wild. But now you said the wetsuit. So explain what that is. Like, because I saw in your bio you're part of the dive team. So explain what that is, but first explain how you get into something like that.
So first off, Everready Hose Company #1, we also double as a water rescue unit. We have 2-on-1, which is the engine, and then 2-on-1-2, which is our boats and our Suburban that puts the boats. So not only as firefighters within the company, I'm a New York State water rescue swimmer. I've been to all the training, and then separately there's the dive squad. Which I'm a diver in training for them. But
so someone on Nautical Mile decides that they want to get drunk and fall in the water and can't get out. They're calling you.
Yeah,
you're hopping in there, or they're stuck in the water or something.
They're calling us. Reach, throw, go. All those good tactics. But we've moved away from the wetsuits just because of safety and proper PPE. Okay. So now we use dry suits, which is a pain. So most of our calls are right now mutual aid. So you're in a Suburban trying to get on a dry suit that has all these seams and rubber seals, and you're bouncing around the Suburban. And you're like, can you check me? Am I good? And then you can't get it over your wrist because of the proper seals. And then operating in a wetsuit is amazing. You have so much mobility. The dry suits, like you got to burp them. You're sitting there, you float. Blow up like the Michelin Man, and
you?
Yeah. At first, if you don't, get the seals tight, you got to burp the suit and then get it.
Just like getting all the air out of it and everything. Okay.
Yeah. So that during Hurricane Sandy, we're all in wetsuits, and they're like, man, if I haven't mutated yet from sucking in all this
water on my skin,
oil, water, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's why they transitioned to dry suits, which makes us way safer in the water. But it's another added element to our house that requires training. I'm putting guys in the water, and I get in the water and I'm like, come rescue me. I'm going to make it hard for you. I was like, you want to come save me? I'm going to be a screaming victim.
Going crazy.
Yeah. And I teach these guys, I was like, how are you going to approach? How are you going to get after them? These are all other tactics separate from the fire ground that I have to teach these guys, at the hose company. Yeah. And the same thing with the dive squad. That adds a whole another element to it where, we're going on the water to go get people. And it's not much different from an SCBA. I don't know if I've never dived anywhere nice. I've never been down to
see fishes and see something nice.
No. You got like at best 3 feet of visibility.
Wow.
Or none, completely like blackout. We go train down at Cal Meadow and we kick up the muck at the bottom, and it's like you don't see nothing. You might as well be in a fire.
So that was what I was going to ask you. So for everyone in your company, they have to be trained this way. They have to do the training, or is it something that, hey, I join and I want to do this, or
we don't,
in your company, this is what you do?
We don't force it upon them. Like, first and foremost, the primary training is to become a Class A firefighter.
Okay.
You know, and then this is supplemental. Like, I can't have guys worrying about too many things. I can't have, you know, too many eggs, you know, too many baskets.
Definitely.
But you know, I get them trained up, but they could be a boat operator. They can be a tender. You can be a swimmer. It really depends on your skills and capabilities and how, you know, we can use you at the house.
Okay.
But I'm there to, you know, facilitate however you want to do. Like, I tell the guys, hey, you want to go down to the Freeport Recreation Center? You know, we can go swim.
So that was what my question was training too. So, like, you train where? Where do you train?
So
like, are you literally just diving off into, you know, like, where are you getting your training at? And when do you do it?
So the New York State Water Rescue Swimmer, that's through the State Fire Academy, and then Nassau Fire Academy used to offer certain courses, but now everything's kind of getting more streamlined within the water rescue. Okay. But otherwise, we go down to Albany Avenue boat ramp, you know, down by the industrial area of Freeport. We launch the boat, and we're just in the water. Or if guys want to go down to the rec center, I mean, the dive squad, we go do, you know, training dives where we'll black out our masks and we're teaching these guys. Well, not me. I'm still learning, but I have some fair experience diving, and we're just there, you know, going over the basics, because when things go south, you go down to your lowest level of training. So we want to get real good at the basics.
Muscle memory. Deploying
in the water, approaching a victim, grabbing the victim, getting him in the boat, or diving, getting down safely, you know, telling your buddy, hey, you good? I'm good. Doing the right hand signals and operating effectively.
Have you ever had to rescue anybody at the water yet? Or
In the dive squad, no, I've never done anything like that. With 2112, mostly during Hurricane Sandy, we've deployed, not in open water, just in flood water areas. One of the big things I want to do is get our guys to go up to the New York State Fire Academy to do their swift water rescue course, and then just getting all the new guys. You know, we run them through everything, even though if they're, you know, probie or, you know, a guy with only 1 year on, it's like, hey man, make some communications. You're the O today.
You're right.
Because training, you know, the Nassau Fire Academy has the new officer courses, but everyone knows that a lot of that training for our leaders comes from the house.
That's right.
You know, those effective guys, whether it's your most active guys or your senior guys that are telling stories and things like that. So
that's how you learn. All right. So I got to ask a question, which we kind of overlooked in the beginning. You know, you were in, you were still in, you had went to, you know, military, you came back, you're still in there. You're a firefighter. What makes you now say, I want to jump into this crazy role of leadership in the fire service? What makes you say, I want to make that next step?
I think ultimately, it was just my time.
Okay.
You know, guys, senior guys, junior guys, I think that they saw me as a leader, and I think it was just my turn to give back to the house in a different way, where I could make sure that we're headed in the right direction, navigate us through the different things going on in the fire service. And I wanted to be that integral part that helps those guys forge that next generation of firefighters, as well as the house. Yeah. You know, I just wanted to do everything I could for the Firehouse, because it means a lot to me personally.
It does. So I gotta ask a question, Dom. And do you mind me calling you Dom? I just abbreviated your name here.
No, it's fine.
It's cool.
Good.
So
Dom, it's fine.
I gotta ask you, Dom. Do you want to go in the chief? Do you want to go that far? Or are you not?
I think you know, it's a lot of training. It's another it's another thing, but it's you know, something I'm working towards.
All right. You heard it here first.
the goal is to get there, but we'll see how it is. We got a long time coming. I still got a lot more to learn. Like, as much as I've been in for 13 years, and I took a break, even though I'm coming back and, you know, fighting fires when I was on vacation. But, you know, I still have a lot to learn. I'm by no means, you know, an expert in things. Okay. I'm just passionate. And I think if you're passionate enough, you can make it work.
You can make that work. All right. So before we move on to some questions, we play a game here called the Flashover. All right. And I'll explain the game. But first, do me a favor. Explain to the audience what a flashover is.
So a flashover is basically when you're in a room and everything's hitting its ignition point, and everything just kind of burns simultaneously, like lights up.
All right, so that's the premise of this game. I'll give you two things, Android, Apple. You got to tell me which one, that quick, all right?
All right.
All right, so Lieutenant Dom, are you ready for the flashover?
I hope so.
All right. But we're going to do movies and TV shows, okay?
All right.
If you know them, you know them. If you don't, you don't. You just say it, okay?
All right.
All right, let's go. Chicago Fire, Rescue Me.
Rescue Me.
Rescue Me, Third Watch.
Rescue Me.
Backdraft, Ladder 49.
Backdraft.
All right. And the most important question I am going to ask you today, engine or truck?
Hose company, apparatus, engine all day.
Wet stuff for the red stuff. Boom, 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 engine all the way. I love to hear that. So you said backdraft over Ladder 49.
Yeah.
Why? Because some people love Ladder 49. Like, why backdraft over Ladder 49? Because a lot of people say backdraft was too exaggerated.
I just love the actors in it and just the grit that they're showing. And it's not, and, it's this family thing going on, this generational like rift of, 3 generations of firefighters. Yeah. You just look at that scene. That's my brother there. And you're like, oh man, I want to be there right now.
I want to run out with the baby with the turnout going over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, backdraft is like the Bible. I've seen that. I think a lot of younger guys like the Ladder 49. Not that there's anything against that. I like that too, but I'm a backdraft guy.
Well, the way they like personified fire and backdraft, it's like this living entity, and it's after you. And I'm like, yeah, that slay the dragon.
That's right.
Slay the dragon. Get after it. So like, I loved that because guys really talk about firefighting romantically.
That's right.
So now they're looking at this. They're looking at backdraft like, is the fire out to get me? No, I'm out to get the fire. Like,
I'm getting that. Yeah. I got it. All right, so got a question for you, Dom. If there was one common myth that you wanted to debunk about firefighting, what would it be?
I think
Jobtown Graphics is your go-to for custom prints, t-shirts, patches, stickers, and more, turning your creative ideas into reality. Owned and operated by a firefighter, they bring dedication and precision to every project. Whatever you can imagine, they can produce. Visit them at Jobtown Graphics on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Drop a comment if you go on Instagram and tell them that WRHU 88.7 The Firehouse sent you.
I think the biggest myth about firefighting is that like every single call is devastating emergency. Like we go to a lot of like, simple calls, regular fire alarms. You go there and we're just showing up to reset the alarm. And, at every time guys are, professional, there's not always fire rolling over our head. It's not always, this big dramatic event, but, you're just there to do a job. You're just there to do your job and serve your community. So it's just that easy, just go and show up and go have a good time and, ride the rig.
That's it.
Just ride the rig.
Get on that rig. Ride the rig. Say that right there. Just ride the rig.
Just ride the rig.
Just
get active.
Ride the rig. There we go. We got one. All right. So I got a couple more questions for you before we get out of here. One question is, in a whole, how has being a part of the volunteer, fire service changed your life?
The fire service for me is everything. Like I grew up, I didn't have too many good things going on at home. And my friends brought me into this firehouse, and it gave me like a safe place, like a haven. Things weren't going on good. Go to the firehouse. Go sleep in at the firehouse. And then as I got older, and I have all these mentors around me. Like I lost my father when I was young, and I didn't have many role models around me. But I had all these guys looking after me, giving me calls. Like when I was in service, like I was over in Afghanistan, and I got these guys from the house emailing me, sending me packages. From one of my deployments, I came back and the rig showed up at JFK.
Wow.
And picked me up. So the firehouse is more than just volunteering with the fire service. To me, like the guys down at the house are our family. Okay. And I'll know them for the rest of my life. Like I would, I'm trying to look at different houses right now and where to live, and it's tough. And I'm like, I gotta find a place in Freeport because I can't leave Freeport.
Every firefighter, as they get to that level to buy a house, says, I went through the same thing. My wife wanted to move out east, and I'm like, what? Like, no, I gotta find something in Uniondale. Like, I'm not leaving here. And that's what it is for my listeners. This becomes a part of your life. Like, this is a part. This isn't just something you do. This is your life. This is a part of it. So, and that's what you get. And that's what I love. I'm pretty sure that's what you love as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just every morning. You know, if I'm off, I'm waking up, going to the firehouse, just go see who's down there. Oh, let's go have breakfast. Or, you know, I cook down at the firehouse like 2-3 nights a week. You know, it's snowing outside. I'm big on snow standbys. I'm like, yo, let's get a snow standby going. I'll make a big pot of chicken soup, and I'm just down there. And I'm like,
go to the grocery store, all of y'all together with the rig, go get some food.
Yeah, I'm like texting the guys like, hot soup, sandwiches, grilled cheese, down at the firehouse, come through.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, there's not another place I want to be. I've been all over the world, different countries. I've been all over the United States, living different spots. And when I was done with my service, I was like, I got to get back to Long Island. I got to get back to Freeport. There's no place like home. I'm like, Dorothy, where are my red boots? Let me clap them. Let me just get home. Yeah.
I love it. All right. So we got an extra part of the show that we just started, and it's really quick, but I want to know if there was one person that you think should be on this show next, who would it be? Shout his name out or her name right now.
I don't know if he'll make it on the show.
That's okay. Let's shout him out.
There's a Chief Capozzoli out of my firehouse. He's an all-time.
Chief Capozzoli.
Youngest chief ever in Freeport. I mean, like really fought like a lot of fire. This is a guy that like I idolize. You know, he's I don't know his exact age, but I mean he's still Class A riding the rig.
Look at that.
He's 75 plus years old.
Wow. Getting
on the rig and he's sitting there like yelling at us down in the quarters, making sure we're squared away. He's like, make sure you go to these health assessments because, you don't know what you're breathing in and all this stuff.
That's right.
Like, he's just like my voice of reason.
The wealth of knowledge that man has is insane.
Yeah, it's like whenever I think I need to like, I'm going gung-ho, he's like, yo, relax, Lieutenant.
Chief Capozzoli. I said it right?
Yeah. And
Chief Capozzoli, you are being called to come down to the firehouse, man.
Yeah, I don't think he'll make it, but man, like the stories that man tells, it's just like everyone's got that guy in the fire service that they're just like, this is the guy. There's tons of folks over in Freeport through all the different companies that you're just like friend, mentor. Like these guys mean a lot to me. Maybe they're not in my house, but I still call them brother, and I'm like, man, let's hang out. Teach me something, because there's guys in the dive squad that know way more than me. There's guys in the firehouse that know way more than me. There's guys in the department that know way more than me. And like, I've been yelled at for doing stupid things, but I'm just like, hey, teach me.
Show me.
My cup isn't full. Please, I got more to learn every day.
I love to hear that. All right, so before we get out of here, I got one more question for you, and it's if there's someone that's listening right now that just got in or is thinking about getting in, what type of advice would you want to give them?
I would say that just commit, invest in the fire service, invest in the guys around you, invest in those leaders that want to take care of you. At first, it's really tough, getting into the fire service. Like, you got to make your percentage, you got to be active, you got to do all of this training. And, the generations of firefighters will say, there's way more training now than there was, 20 years ago. There's way more training now than there was 10 years ago. And it's just like, if you can get through that first hump, I promise you that it will be worth it in the fire service.
It'll be worth it. I hope you all heard that. Because that is important. And even if you're thinking right now, this is your sign. Go join right now. All right. So Dom, is there anything that I'm forgetting?
No, I don't think so. I really appreciate you doing what you're doing.
Thank you, man.
It's tough to get out there to reach some of these kids. Sometimes
meet them where they are.
Well, I was having a conversation with the guys the other day where it's like, when was the last time a group of 18-year-olds joined? I was like, it was us.
Yeah.
Now you're getting guys in like their 20s or in their 30s trying to figure, I want to do something else. Yep. I want something more. But it's like, how do we reach this next generation of firefighters? And it, all ideas are welcome.
Yes, that's right.
Let us know. I get up on the floor and I'm like, if someone has a good idea about anything, please let me know.
We'll do it.
Because I can't, just tell me. I will be your driving force and make your dream a reality. Just give me the resources and I'll make it happen.
I love that. I love that. Listen, thank you so much, man, for coming down, man. Thank you so much for coming down. I hope you all enjoyed that. We just heard from my boy Dom from the Freeport Fire Department. That's Hose 1, baby, about his life as a firefighter. I hope you all enjoyed that conversation. Please like, share, subscribe, do all of those things. I am your host, Chris Moses, and please tune in next week for another great conversation in the fire.